Many textbooks will give you a method on how to solve chemistry problems. One popular way is the COAST method. COAST stands for collect and organize, analyze, solve, and think about the problem. You should use this guide and this video to develop your own problem-solving method. In the collect and organize stage, first read the question. Always read the question first. Don't assume you know what they're asking because professors love to change questions. Then identify the key concepts, key terms, and define the key terms. You might want to rewrite the question in your own words. Then ask yourself, what are they asking you to solve for? This is usually listed at the end of the problem with a question mark behind it, or it is listed in the first sentence of the question. Second, ask yourself what kind of information do they give you to find the answer. Sometimes professors will give you information you don't need to solve the problem. You'll need to figure out if the professor has given you any of this information. Then ask yourself, what do you know and what don't you know? Do you need to find any equations, definitions, or constants? If you understand the question, you have half the work of the problem done already. In the analyze step, ask how to find out what you don't know. Sometimes it's easier to work backwards, to find out what they're asking for and then working towards what they gave you. If the problem is quantitative, ask for a numerical answer, look at the units of the initial values and final answer. Units can show you how quantities are connected and which equations you need to solve the problems. Sometimes you'll need to rearrange the equations, set up a conversion factor, or draw a sketch to help you visualize how starting and ending points are connected. In the solve step, you'll need to insert the numbers into the equations and conversion factors you found, if it's a quantitative question. Also, make sure your units are consistent and cancel if appropriate. If it's a conceptual question, ask yourself how to phrase the answer. In the think about it step, actually take a step back and think about your answer. Ask yourself, does it make sense based on my experience and what I just learned? If it's a quantitative answer, does it make sense logically? Are the units correct? Finally, ask if you're confident you could do another problem like this one again. Here's an example problem we will do using these steps. You've been asked to write a study guide for your chemistry textbook. For your work, the publishing company is giving you a choice of a one-time payment of $13,000 or $2,000 plus 10% of the royalties per copy sold. A. If your royalty rate is making $3.20 off every study guide sold, how many study guides do you need to sell to have a total income be equal to either choice? If you expect 10,000 copies of the study guide to be sold, which plan should you choose? I actually love problems like this because it gives you a real-world example of something you should know how to do. If you pick the wrong way of earning your salary, you can miss out on hundreds of dollars. First of all, congratulations on being asked to write a study guide. It must be difficult to write a study guide for a whole chemistry. Wait, what did you say? This is only an example problem? You haven't really been asked to write a study guide? Oh well, I tried. Okay, for the collect and organize step, they give you a lot of information in a short paragraph. First of all, the first sentence is just excess information. You really don't need to solve the problem. Maybe it's a good idea to make yourself a little sketch of what they're giving you at the beginning of the problem. You have two different paths you could take in getting paid for your work. You could either take $13,000 up front, or you could take $2,000 up front and get paid 10% of the royalties for every copy in the book sold. Let's consider part A first. How many copies would need to be sold to have the income equal for each scenario? What kind of information do they give you to solve this problem? They tell you that the royalty from selling one guide is $3.20. What do you know and what don't you know? Well, you know a lot of money terms, $13,000, $2,000, and $3.20. What you don't know is you don't know how many books you need to sell. In the analyze step, we've already drawn a little sketch. Let's add our new information there. Selling one study guide would make us $3.20 for our second scenario. How to find what we don't know. We will solve this problem empirically. We know we have $13,000 up front if we want it, but if we take $2,000 of this away, we'll have how much we could have gotten free and clear without the royalty method. For the solve step, take the $13,000 and subtract $2,000. $13,000 minus $2,000 equals $11,000. This means we could have gotten $11,000 free and clear. We'll then divide this number, $11,000, by the $3.20 we would have gotten for each book. Take 11,000 and divide by 3.20 and we come up with 3,437.5. This means we could have sold 3,437.5 books and we would have gotten the same amount of money either way. Now, think about this number. Does it make sense? Almost 3,500 books could be sold and you'd make the same amount of money either way. For part B, if you would have sold 10,000 books, which way would be more profitable for you? For this collect and organize step, let's add to our sketch again with this new information we just acquired. For the analyze step, we could solve this problem one of two ways. We could look at our answer in part A, or we could multiply this number times how much money we got per book. We'll start by looking at our answer in part A. In our answer to part A, we found if we sold 3,437.5 books, we could make the same amount of money either way. Now we're saying that we've sold 10,000 books, which is 6,500 more books than we sold if the outcomes were equal. Which way would be more profitable? It would be better to take the $2,000 and $3.20 per book royalty. For the solve step, we'll multiply the 10,000 books times the $3.20 per book we would make per book. 10,000 times 3.20 equals 32,000. This means we would make $32,000 in royalties alone. This shows it would be more profitable to take the $2,000 and the $3.20 per book. Now let's think about this answer. The mathematical way tells you to take the royalty method of being paid, and your answer to part A also showed you the most profitable you would be to take the royalty method of payment. Hopefully this video gave you some tools you could use to solve chemistry or any type of problem.